Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stand Shut Up. Today we got Tallergeese. Let's bring him on. Hey, Tallergeese, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Cool, man. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's it going for
Nice.
you?
Not too bad. Another Wednesday night. Cool. So, when you signed up, you're talking about looking for kind of improvements overall for the upcoming BLKO season, right? Does that sound about right? Corner defense, block strength, striker pressure, how to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah, that would all be great.
Okay.
I kind of have like a big list of things that I've noticed I'm not doing this or I need to work on that. And it's a big overwhelming list, so I don't really know sort of what would be the most important things to work on at
Yeah.
any given time.
Yeah, so what we can do is we can just look for we can play, do the normal kind of setup here, or the normal kind of routine, and kind of see where you're at and pick maybe the low hanging fruit. It's kind of what we did last time. Fully
Yep.
expecting there to be other things to look at, maybe that we didn't look at last time, either because maybe I missed it or maybe it just wasn't as glaringly obvious, right? Yeah, if that sounds good to you, let me go ahead and get the custom room up and we can get started.
Yep. I mean, I think one of the big takeaways from the last time was I was walking back way too much in
Hmm.
neutral. So
Hmm.
you suggested me to try sort of walking forward and using my lights and mediums more to take space and use my lights and mediums more to sort of interrupt and counter hit.
Hmm.
So I've been trying to keep in mind on that. And then Flew also pointed out that I should be using standing heavy kick a lot more to kind of poke as an alternative to those as well.
Hmm.
Um, so I've been also working on that quite a bit.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. For Manon especially, the stand heavy kick is pretty important because it establishes the control of that space, right? So, if you as a Manon player are able to control that stand heavy kick range in front of me, especially against a Ken player that doesn't, like a Ken, not against Ken in particular, that doesn't have like normals like that, right? You can really take over the match, right? You can make me hesitant to press. You can walk forward and kind of impose your game plan if I'm hesitant to press, right? Because you're controlling that space. But stand-up kick is, don't get me wrong, it's a really, really good button, a strong button for Manon. But if you whiff it, you'll pay for it, right? So you
oh, I
gotta
know.
be a little careful about it. But it's always worth pressing, I think, to see and try to control
It
space. So
is a little more wiffable now that it has
yeah,
later proximity guard.
yeah, especially like you're saying after the proximity guard nerf, right? That happened. So
Yeah,
cool, man. So we'll do the usual. So we'll go through the first three here. I'll deafen during the set, so I don't impact anything you're doing. Then after that, we'll hop into replay review. Let's take a look at one of our games and one of the games you sent me. We'll just pick one. I haven't looked at them, but we'll see which one makes sense.
sure.
Maybe hop in the lab if it makes sense to do, and then run it back if we have time. So if that all sounds good, go ahead and queue up, and I'll join you in a second. All right, good luck.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Oh, I forgot to advertise that I'm doing this.
Don't expect me to be a pushover. Round
All right,
one.
so let's see what's going on. Oh, nice, nice. All right, so one of the downsides of using a button like that is that it's susceptible to getting counterpoked, right? So like, let's see reversal here, right? Nice. All right, so far what I'm seeing, I think that they have a solid game plan of what they want to be doing. The issue is that they're kind of whiffing right now, right? So, oh, nice. That was sick. Like my stamina kick just whiffs. All right, catch me walking back. We'll prepare for anti-air. that's good. Oh, the whiff at the end kind of tagged him. So again, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I think a lot of the neutral stuff that they're doing makes a lot of sense. It's just that if they are trying to implement that more and more, it's going to be hard to, it's hard to implement, you know? Oh, nice. Oh, that didn't whiff? Punish? Yeah, you can see, like, if your opponent is doing what I'm doing here, which is kind of walking up to stuff your heavy button, you do have to kind of make an adjustment, right? Either try to make me whiff, like, walk into the range so it looks like you're going to press the button, and then force me to whiff my stand medium kick. Because stand medium kick is whiff punchable, right? For Ken also, you can just walk and block. Remember, it's -5 on block, right? So gotta guess. Can't let them get away with that stuff. Oh, that's the Fuyu spin right there. So you can see what I'm doing here, right? Is I'm kind of controlling space by throwing fireballs, right? And okay. Dropped my super. So basically what I'm doing to him now, right, is I'm standing at the space that he wants to press the stand heavy kick, but I'm throwing fireballs, right? So it's kind of making it hard for him to press because he eats a fireball, right? Like, I'm outside of my footsie's range effectively here, right? But he can't really press his stand heavy kick. Oh. From that range. Oh, wake up button. Oh, nice. Uh-oh. I think it might have been a little too plus there, right? Ooh, lucky me. I think I put in the general blender. Yeah, the burnout at the end there was kind of brutal, to be honest, but I'm not sure if there was something better they could have done there. Oh, oh, nice. Oh. And that's what happens when you get trapped against Manon and keep getting counter hit, right? So I'm trying to press my buttons here, and they're structuring their pressure in a way that I'm going to get counter hit, right? So it's pretty strong. You can see. Kind of walked away from the stand heavy kick plan, which maybe is okay. Aw. Uh-oh. Oh, got clipped walking backwards in the burnout. That's unfortunate. So let's bring it back on and see what they thought. Hey, buddy, what'd you think?
I thought that you were looking for my. I was poking with the crouching medium kick a lot, and I think you were baiting that after you saw it in the first round quite a bit, and I was getting caught by that almost every time.
Yeah, what I was yeah. Or what else did you notice, if anything?
uh, there was something else, but I've already forgotten.
It just fell out of your brain. I know, dude. The game is so fast that like you think about something and then like 2 games later it's already gone. But yeah, I thought actually your neutral is a lot better than it was than the first time we played for this thing. So I thought that was really well done on your part. You definitely did not walk back as much. You kind of held your ground a little bit. At least at the beginning. I think what happened was you were going for the kind of longer pokes, stand heavy kicks, and like crouching medium kicks, like you were saying. But once I adjusted to like the space you wanted to press that at, I think you noticed you were getting counter hit a lot, right? Like I'd walk up and press my stand medium kick, and it would counter hit your heavy button, right?
Yeah.
So when that happened, instead of trying to adjust to like that, what ended up happening was you kind of went away from the stand heavy kick entirely for a bit, right? You kind of backed up to a spacing where neither of us could really do anything, except Ken has a fireball, so he gets to throw fireballs from that range, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of played into that a little bit, and you kind of got caught, at least in the last game, I think, a little bit more with the fireball ranges, right? So what ended up happening was I was backed up a little bit outside of your stand heavy kick range, which meant that you can't really press it. And if you do try to press something, you eat a fireball, right? So that kind of made you hesitant to kind of walk forward. And then you ended up in the corner, like most of the games, right? Well, rather,
Yeah.
the way you ended up in the corner was because of that, right? I don't think I landed too many like crouch immediate kick drive rush type deal situations.
No,
Like I didn't.
there was only one like big Tatsu that took me across the screen.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was
Most of it's just walking
mostly
back.
walking you back, right? And that's with like my heavy buttons, like stand heavy kick, stand heavy punch, and then like once you got hesitant to press, that's when I was able to walk in, right? And there was a bunch of like whiffs that were happening, right? So let me bring up share my screen here, and I'll bring up a match, and we can take a look at it. So I think I want to look at game 1 here, and the reason for that is because I think this was the one where you were doing your game plan the most. So let's kind of see what is happening here. Right. So I know we had talked about it, right, and that's kind of why it's like set in my mind also, probably to some extent. But you can see like your game plan here, really you're trying to walk in, right, and I'm trying to back up to keep you out to for the most part. If I'm gonna advance, it's gonna like if we're gonna get close, I want it to be on my terms, not yours, right? From the offensive side, and similar for you, right? Like you don't want me to walk in. Instead, you want to walk me to the corner if you can, right? Poke me, like make me block a lot of stuff, right? So this whiff right here, right? It's a bit unfortunate. I think like this is pretty close, right? If you look at this,
Yeah.
if I don't press anything here, I think this still kind of whiffs because normally a fireball has an extended hurt box that comes out, but it's not out yet, right? So you get the punish counter there, right? So like this right here suggests to me that you have been working on using this button more, right? Because you're standing in a space where if I continue walking forward, I'm gonna eat this stand heavy kick, right? This is pretty close, I think, overall.
Yeah.
So I'm not too mad about this press in particular, right? Like, who throws a fireball from this distance, right? Like, how does that happen, right? But at any rate, I end up throwing a light fireball here, right? Catches you, right? And then you can see, like, I'm kind of dancing inside of that crouching medium kick range, right? That's pretty close, actually, right? Like, I don't fault you for pressing there, right?
This
Obviously,
is the moment
I missed
that like
the whiff punish.
stuck in my brain though, because then the heavy kick into the crouching medium kick I go to a lot because people walk out of that, and then
Go ahead.
but then I whiff here, and then I think in the next one you start punishing it with your own crouching medium kick, and then just got way in my head on that.
Yeah, and the reason why this is so strong, right? What you were doing here is because if you were to land this thing, right? If I had to block that, right? If I blocked it, or even got hit by it, whatever. Most of the time, people's instinct is to back up because you just got hit. So then this is free, right? Like almost every time. Most people will, instead of down backing there after getting hit, they'll try to back up, and then you can just kind of tag them with this poke, right? It's a little bit of damage, all that, but the real reward for this, since it doesn't cancel or anything, is you push them back, right? You deal some damage, push them back, and then for the next iteration of that interaction, they have to consider down backing, right? And if they down back after that, then you can like walk forward and command grab or whatever, right? Like that opens up other avenues for you. Because as a grappler, when people block something, you want to be able to move in on your own terms. So if they are down backing and are willing to block and stand there, that gives you an opportunity to get in, right? Versus trying to back up. And that's kind of the grappler, casino, right? Is that when you block something, do you want to try to defend against a strike? Do you want to defend against a throw? Like, how do you do that, right? And this is a way to do this, right? And I think this is executed fine. It's just, or the concept is fine. It's just the execution was a bit rough because you're a little bit out of range, right? And again, I don't fault you for this push, right, or this press because it's close. Like if I were to hide all this stuff, you can see how close that is, right? So Right, so that whiffs, and I try to whiff punish with this, or I try to press this, and it's too late, right? And you kept me there, right? So, like, there you got me, right? So you caught me walking back, and then you caught me trying to press my button, right? I don't think it was counter hit, but I was walking forward, right? So you can see, like I'm walking forward is why I get hit here, right? Because I'm trying to press my standing kick, so this was good. Right, so now, and I don't actually know that you press this, to be honest, but now my thinking is that if I get into a range like this, you want to press a button. Now, I thought it was going to be stand heavy kick. Obviously, it was crouch medium kick that actually came out here. But I'm thinking you're going to press a button, right? So instead of trying to whiff punish the button here, instead I walk up and try to counter poke, right? So I press something that is faster than your stand heavy kick, right? And just do this, right? So 8 frames, pretty fast for medium, good range, right? All that. But this was the adjustment that I made to your initial game plan of keeping me out, right? Like, oh, I think Tallergeese wants to press at this spacing, so I'm going to disrupt that by doing this, right? I get a little conversion here, right? And I get a kind of a freestand heavy punch here, right? Like, it's not quite meaty, I think, because you're recovered here. But it's hard to press against this, right? Like, you're just recovering here, you're not quite sure, right? I just got to press
anything I would press would be so slow that I could actually reach you.
Yeah, so right? That, like, your mediums potentially may not come out in time, and if you press a light, it may whiff, right? And that would be even worse, because you'd get punish countered for free, and then I get a conversion off that. So
yeah.
Right, and then there's one crouching medium kick, right? So, like, what happened that caused this whole sequence, right? So, here, after this is blocked, you try to press again, right? Even though you're -2, or I'm -2 here, right? After I block this, right? Here we're neutral again, right? So, like, there's no advantage anymore, right? So here I'm minus, nothing, right? You don't press anything right away, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But then you decide to press after, and I just beat you to the button, basically, right? And that's what causes this, right? So if you were timely in this press, right, like you had just taken your turn back with a medium here.
Yeah, I was more decisive and took it immediately.
Yeah, I don't think you counter hit me because I delayed my press, but you'll stop me from getting in, right?
Yeah, Manon's crouching mini kick is also like one of the slower ones, I think, because it's such a long range. So
yeah, eight frames.
If we
or 9, was it 8 frames? Yeah, 8 frames.
So
it's average in terms of frame data, I think. Like, you know, a lot of the Shoto ones are actually 8 frames. Ken is privileged with a 7 frame, but like Akuma is 8 frames, for example. So, like, well, I guess what I'm getting at here is that, like you say, had you been decisive and took your turn back with that button, in this case, it actually counter hits me, right? If we look, right? Right, or do this, something like that, potentially. But if you had taken your turn back, I guess is what I'm getting at, is that if you had decided to take your turn back timely, either I get hit there, right, with a counter hit, or if I had delayed it enough, I end up blocking, right? Like, I'm down backing, I'm waiting for you to press your button because I'm minus, right? So I'm trying to see if you're going to do something, and then I try to press, and then you disrupt that timing, right? The alternative, which you just saw here, was that you don't press anything, right? So even though it's your turn, technically, even though it's your turn, technically, the spacing doesn't really let you press anything that I think you could get away with not pressing anything, right?
Yeah.
Right, from right here. Right, you don't necessarily have to press, right? You can just wait and see what I do, right? And that's part of, that's one of the things I think people tend to miss, is that even though Ken, or me, Juzzy, is minus here, there's going to be a decision at some point to do something. And you can kind of suss out what that might be if you just observe what I end up doing here, right? Like, for the next interaction. Maybe not this time, but like, if you see, oh, when Juzzy presses stand heavy punch on block in his space, he'll go for a crouching medium kick, right? Like, you can kind of make that assumption. And then you can see, right? If you block here, or if you just do down back here, you potentially have to block the crouching medium kick, right? In fact, I think that in this situation, given the spacing here, oops, come on, right, from right here, if you had just blocked.
Sorry, can you hold on just a second?
Sure.
I'll be back in. Sorry about that.
No worries. You good?
Yeah.
All right. So what was I saying? All right, from this situation right here, right?
Mhm.
After you block the stand heavy punch, I was saying you could take your turn back decisively, right? So we looked at that scenario, what that looks like, and it looks like this, right? You just take your turn back, right? And you counter hit me in that scenario, right? The alternative is to do nothing. Like given that spacing that I hit you at, like there's a situation, there's a potential for you to whiff something, so you could just press nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like that whiffs, and then you can whiff punish this, right? Right, whatever that ends up looking like. So like the I guess the point I'm trying to make there is that while the decision you made is not necessarily a wrong one, it's just that there are other things to consider in that scenario, right? So you could also have pressed timelier. You could take a turn back decisively, meaning that's what I meant by that, or you could do
Mhm.
nothing, right? You can also do nothing and wait, right? Either of those things would have beaten the option that I had chosen, right? In this scenario, and the only reason I bring this up
Yeah.
is because you kind of want to observe what the opponent likes to try to do, right? And you kind of saw what I did to you, where I was like, okay, I think they want to press in heavy kick at this range, and I was able to land a counter hit from that, right? So
Right.
similar here, if you see a Ken player pressing when they're minus at spacings that kind of make sense for them to press, you could easily whiff punish them or stuff what they're doing if you make a read on that, right? If you're decisive about it. The unfortunate thing here was that the timing that you ended up pressing at ends up being beat by the crouching medium kick, right? Like the slight delay on my crouching medium kick. And again, that wasn't because I was like making a read on the button you're going to press. If anything, I
Mhm.
thought you'd back up, right? So if you blocked it and then you have to deal with a drive rush mix up, I mean, that's probably better than getting hit. But that's what I was going for. Was like I was assuming you
Yeah.
would back up. It just happened to hit you, right? So
I mean, the option that I picked, I'm not sure how much I actually picked it, as opposed to just kind of falling into that. But the delayed crouch medium kick doesn't actually beat anything that the other ones wouldn't, right? So there's not really a reason to do the delay there,
on my part, you mean, or on your part?
on my part.
Yeah, yeah, not in particular, right?
Yeah.
Um, if there was something if I had pressed immediately, maybe. No. If I pressed immediately, if I try to press like a light button immediately, maybe it whiffs and you're able to grab that, tag that.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen from that distance.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
I'm more likely to land something on even on block, right? I do
Yeah.
think that if you're playing against someone that is a little more passive, like if I were to back up from there,
Mhm.
potentially that crouching medium punch or crouching kick makes sense, right? So like from here, maybe, right? And the reason I say maybe is because I think it might whiff. So let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be kind of now if I just stand there, right, then that can happen, right?
Mm.
But the spacing we're at, I'm kind of like, well, I think I'm out of range of your crouching medium kick, right? And you can see if I just do this, right, I can
Yeah.
do that, right? And that wasn't too hard to realize, right? So yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where if you're in game and you get hit by something like that, and you're like, oh, that situation maybe didn't make sense for me to press, then the next time you see that, you can consider a different option, right? Because
Yeah.
and especially for the Kens, love pressing that button, right? Like we'll press that button every day of the week if we can. So if you get a sense of like what the Ken player wants to do, the follow up from there, then you can start blowing some of those options up, right? So anyway, take a driver's cancel here. All right, go for parry. I don't mind that. Really, guess strike was wrong. It is what it is.
Yeah.
This was good right here. So I think this was I don't know if you're trying to delay or not, but this was pretty decisive on your part because this would be a counter hit if I go into the low. If you're just
Mhm.
guessing here and it worked out, I don't hate that. Like to be honest
Okay.
with you,
I
because
was trying to go for the delay, but I habitually do not delay it
it didn't
enough.
delay enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, right? Yeah, it's got to be 3 to 4 frames. I think is where you want to delay for like a crouching light punch or something like that. But
Yeah.
at any rate, when you think about the Jinrai mix up here, right? What does Ken really get if you get the counter hit? He gets a knockdown. That's really what it is now, right? You get a knockdown.
Mhm.
It's a hard knockdown now, so he gets a guaranteed Oki, but it's not guaranteed damage anymore, right? And that that was patched out last patch too, anyway, right? So like,
Yeah.
even though this patch it was buffed in terms of damage, I think, but
Mhm.
like the risk reward here is that if you challenge this successfully, like the reward is you get out of the corner, right? And you got a medal in this case, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Versus if I had gone for the low, like I get a counter hit knockdown, does a little extra damage now. and then Oki, right? And you same situation. Now you have to guess Oki, right? So
Yeah, I saw a random YouTube short from like Muscle Noob or something that just said you should challenge it every time. It
yeah,
made sense.
it makes sense, right? If you have the health
Yeah,
to give, it makes sense
yeah,
because the Ken again does not get as much a reward anymore, right? Now again, it's been buffed a little bit because I don't know why, but they buffed it a little bit. So, but yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
already yeah, I was already in the corner too, so I'm already in a bad spot.
mhm.
I don't think getting a knockdown is that much worse.
Yeah, I mean, situationally, right? It's no worse than the
Yeah,
situation you were in previously, where you had to try to guess against the run DP, right? The run DP,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
afterwards, right? So it's not any worse, and you had some health, right? So like, again, risk reward wise, reward I think is worth that risk in that scenario, right? Because again, at worst, you have to guess again, right? So yeah, and then the whiff here, as I'm trying to press my button, right? So
yeah. I
yeah.
was not supposed to be back medium kick there. That is just
Oh really?
no. I was trying to like walk back and then hit like probably crouching medium kick or something, and then just got that
Yeah,
medium kick.
then got the back heavy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, huh, that's an interesting button to whiff in that spacing. I mean, yeah, it sounds like it was a bit of an input error there. But like, if you look at the overall game, though, I think that neutral wise, you actually played it fairly well, right? You're able to kind of establish a game plan initially. It's just that when I was able to adjust to it is when the next kind of step needs to happen, whatever that is for you, right? So like,
Yeah.
I think I was saying on stream is that if you notice your opponent like, so I adjusted to what you were doing by doing a walk up stand medium kick, right? Like I try to counter poke that. So now the adjustment needs to be okay. So now that I know, or now that I'm assuming that my opponent is going to try to counter poke me there, what are my options now in neutral, right? And a lot of times, what that ends up being is you try to bait me into pressing the stand medium kick, right? Um, get into a spacing where it looks like you're gonna try to poke me with a stand heavy kick, induce me to press the stand medium kick to try to walk up and stuff it. And once you back up, you should be out of range to beat me, right? And you actually do this here, I think, in one of these games. Well, we might see it. But that's like
Yeah.
the adjustment you need to make, right? Is okay, now that I'm getting counter poked like that, I need to be able to try to bait that and whiff punish it. Or potentially stuff it myself, right? Walk up like a jab or something, or a stand light kick or whatever, right? I don't know
Yeah.
if those are
It
better
definitely,
options, but that could be a thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah, see, like I'm now committed to this game plan, right? I'm trying to get counter hits off of your stand heavy kick, right? Right there, right? So that was good. So I block a stand heavy kick here, spaces me out. Okay. I try to press my button here, and it whiffs. Right? Now, how intentional this was, I mean, it worked out. But this was the right idea, or this is the idea that I was trying to convey, right? Is that you want to try to induce me to whiff this button, right? So, and you get conversion from this now, right? So,
Does that whiff on crouching or
I
something?
think it
I'm not sure
does.
why that would. Okay,
It
that's
whiffs
probably
at
why then.
crouching from that distance, yeah. Like
Yeah,
the
then that
hitbox
was
is kind
not.
of, yeah, the hitbox is kind of abnormally high.
Yeah.
So, but I think like if you were a little bit closer, I think this hits. So, like if you walk forward here. Yeah. So like the hitbox is, if you look at it on super combo, it's kind of weird. It goes at like a diagonal and it can whiff at max range against crouchers. So,
Mm.
I mean, it worked out. But the idea, I think, was the idea of doing that, I think, is what you want to consider, right? Is that like, oh, if I'm getting counter poked, that means that my buttons are getting preempted. So can I bait the preemptive response from my opponent and whiff punish that, right? So, but a good awareness here. Like once you saw the punish counter, went for the combo, got the confirm. All right, so this is pretty good here, right? Like I'm clearly trying to back up, and you just tag me for that, right? And punish me for that, right? Like I know it's not a ton of damage, but the idea here is to discourage me from walking back, right? So
Yeah, try to keep you in place a little.
Whereas here, I think that there's not a huge compelling reason for you to back up from that spacing, right? So after you land this hit, like you don't necessarily have to back up, right? Like you give up a character length of space here. So not a huge compelling reason for you to do that, because from this distance here, like right about here, Ken can't really hit you with anything other than a fireball, right? So you don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to back up in that scenario. And if you do want to, if you're trying to like block or like stop me, like if I'm going to reversal or something like that, you can just down back too, right? You don't necessarily have to back up to create space, right?
Yeah.
Because that backing up is what allows me to throw this fireball, right? Like I don't think if you're standing here, I don't think I throw this fireball, right? But since I see you backing up, I can throw the fireball now, right? So
Yeah, I think what happened was didn't know how to like continue the pressure from like getting that straight like random crouching medium kick.
mhm,
I had seen like I don't have enough to actually driver cancel again,
mhm.
and so by default is just to walk back because I'm
Yeah,
scared because I don't know what to do else.
sure. And it's just like, oh, let me get a little space back. Let me like
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back to my neutral game plan, right? And I think that's
yeah,
totally fine, right? You don't have to take Oki if you don't want to, right? There's nothing that says you have to continue your pressure every time, right?
yeah,
You can just as easily continue your pressure by standing at a spacing where you're threatening buttons, right? That's also pressure, right? Not just because I'm
yeah.
not blocking it doesn't mean I don't notice it, right? So instead, what happens is you back up, we do a little exchange of fireballs and all that stuff, blocks, and then I tag you here trying to press your button, right? I think is what it was, right? So here, right, I just walk up and press, and it looks like it tags you as you're trying to press your button here, right? So I can tech. Right. So this whole sequence here, right? After you take this, like that walk up right there. The reason I can do that is because I've sensed that you don't want to press 10 heavy kick anymore, right? Because like from right here, from this distance here, if you press that, I'm eating that send heavy kick, right? Like,
Yeah.
right. So I'm gonna eat that button. But because I've noticed that you are hesitant to press it, it allows me to do a walk up pretty far in, right? I get all the way up to here and press 10 light kick, right? And with
Yeah.
punish your, and I guess preempt your jab attempt to keep me out, right? So
I didn't even know I was hesitant to press it at that point. It
you
didn't
don't think
even
so?
occur to me.
Oh, like you didn't notice that you didn't notice it,
Not
or
pressing it. No, I
oh,
didn't notice that it wasn't pressing it. But yeah, you're right. That probably was exactly what was
yeah,
happening.
yeah, and it's really subtle because and again, I'm obviously making assumptions. I can't read your mind, obviously, but I have to make some assumptions on what's happening in game, right? And I think that if I sense or guess that you had moved away from stand heavy kick, whether you noticed it or not, the game is telling me that you moved away from it, right? So that allowed me to kind of do this, right? So
Yeah, I think it's just I'm in the corner, and so like I feel like I can't press as proactively,
mhm,
which
mhm.
in my head, or my standing heavy kick is like a proactive sort of poke. Yeah, it definitely would have hit there, so that would have been
Yeah,
a
it would have
good
been
thought to
from
have.
that distance. Yeah, it would have been great. So
Yeah,
that is one thing I think you wanted to talk about, which is corner defense, right? I think you had mentioned that
yeah,
as one of the things, and something that I talk about. It's not just the Oki set, the Oki stuff, right? That's Oki is definitely part of it. Like, oh, I'm in the corner, knocked down. What do I do? How do I guess? Right? That's one thing.
mhm.
But the other aspect is what I'm doing here, right? So I'll let the sequence play out again, just to see what was happening here. Right. So until that jump in, right? So this is actually really good on your part to get out from there, right? So this is actually fairly well defended. But this sequence here of all the buttons that I'm kind of pressing in your face in the corner, this is dictated because you're in the corner, right? So like
Mhm.
when you think about the footsie's triangle, right? And I think we've talked about it before, the footsie's triangle, all that. When you can't back up anymore, you can no longer whiff punish, right? Like you can't control space, you can't create space anymore, right? So because of that, and you're stuck in the corner, that means that me as the offensive player, I can control that space, and therefore it's difficult for me to whiff, right? Because I control the space, right? You're stuck statically at the corner. So me whiffing in the corner means that I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, right? But basically, like it's hard for me to whiff because I can always control the space, right? So because you can't control space, what can you do, right? So the two options you have to you here, right? Because you can't whiff punish this, right? Because you can't back up
Mhm.
to make it whiff. So what are your options, right? One option is for you to walk forward and challenge the button, right? So you try to walk forward and kind of cover attack, if you will, what I'm doing, right? So you walk forward and you press your counter poke, right? So I'm doing that. So what I would potentially try to do, right? If you get a sense of like, and you want to take that risk, you could do something like this, right? So I think it's this, right? Stand medium kick, something like this, right? So you have to take a little bit of risk, right, when it comes to that, but you can be a little bit proactive there in the sense that you kind of walk up and challenge the button, right? So
Yeah.
like because I'm coming in and I'm trying to press a heavy button, if you notice that, then you may be able to walk forward and counter poke me with like your stand medium kick or something like that, right? To try to challenge the button, right? That's one option you can do, right? Is to try to do that. The other one is to hope I whiff, and that's a little bit tough, right? Because you think about like if you can't whiff punish, what are the actual footsies triangle options available to you, right? Either you try to hit attack, which is you move forward and try to stuff what I'm doing, or cover
Mhm.
attack, which is you try to stop me from moving forward, right? Meaning like how do I put this? Like instead of you walking forward and pressing the button, you're preventing me from walking forward by pressing your button. If
Yeah.
that makes
I'm
sense, right?
sticking a button out and hope that you walk into it or
Yeah, like
pick up
the stand
space for
heavy
the
kick
button. Yeah.
example, right? As I'm
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
forward to
Yeah.
hit, right? So those are your options available. That like from a footsie's triangle aspect, right? Like those are the options that are kind of available to you, right? The problem is that both of those involve a ton of risk, right? Like you have to
Mhm.
walk forward, you have to try to be proactive, right? There's a lot of risk being taken by you, and that's the nature of being in the corner, unfortunately, right? That's my reward for putting you there is that I get to do that, right? Now that said, you have other
Yeah.
options, right? So you can always reversal if you have it available to you. You can try jumping,
Yeah.
which I did do.
I remember by the second game, I was thinking, like, I haven't reversaled a single time
Nope.
in the corner. And I think even by the end, I don't think I
No,
reversaled.
I don't think so. Right, and it wasn't. I tried to bait it. Like I tried to neutral jump and I tried to like wait for it, and it never came. So I was like, oh okay. But you can see here, like what I'm doing on offense is I'm basically trying to get you to try to commit to one of those things, or I can just keep doing this, right? I can just keep pressing buttons, and every time I land a button on you, right, you take either health or drive, right? So like from here,
Yeah.
like I chunk you for like however much this is, half a bar or whatever it is, or I hit you, right, and chunk you for 800 damage, right? Like if I would not mind winning by never hitting another combo the rest of this game and just doing this over and over again, right? Like that's an ideal win for
Sure.
me,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm dictating the pace of the game. I'm not taking any real risk on Oki. Like I'm just doing this over and over again, and eventually you'll either run out of bar, run out of health, or something, right? Or you end up committing to an option that I can bait, right? Like I do this, right? I block, and then maybe I get a throw or something, and then I get you to commit to something, and I'm able to beat it, right? Like that's basically it. But when it comes to corner defense, on Oki, the goal is to stand up, right? Take as minimal damage as possible to stand back up. Now in corner defense, when you're neutral like this, your goal is to get space back. Now what that can mean moving forward, or that can mean jumping over me, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's beautifully done here. And just to give you a note here, like once I noticed you got space back, that's when I drive rushed, right? You can see that I spent bar to keep you in this corner as much as I could, right? And that's when I did that. And I was like, okay, I don't think he's gonna block this, but at least I'll be able to get some pressure on you here, right? And get you back into this
Yeah.
corner, right?
You took all the space back right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Right? I spent 3 bars to do that. Now, for me, that's worth it because it puts me in an advantageous situation, obviously. But some players don't feel that way about that, right? Some players will allow you to have that space and then beat you back with neutral or whatever. But I'm kind of aggressive in that sense, right? So that's why I spent it. Now, is it good or bad? I don't know, but that's
I
just
mean,
how I
you're
play,
in
right?
position to get the drive back, though, since you're the one poking at me.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, and then
seems
it
like
all falls apart because you jump over me, right? I tried, I tried to crosscut, it didn't come out, unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it works, right? This works for you. So like I was saying, this is an option for you to get out, right? You can walk forward and jump. Now again, this represents risk, right? You have to jump, and if I anti-air you, now you have to deal with Oki, right? But the reward
Yeah.
is you get out, right? So, and at worst, like maybe I do land this crosscut, you take the damage and potentially Oki. I may not do it because I don't have bar, but at least you're out now, right? So. And then I do the same thing to you, right? We playing hopscotch here. But you can see like the thought process is kind of the same, right? So you're standing at a spacing here. and I have to make a decision on if I want to, what I want to do here, right? Do I want to try to poke you, counter poke? Do I want to try to stuff with your approach, or do I want to do something else, right? Maybe I jump here, and it works, right? Like it happens to jump over your poke, so. And then unfortunately back in the situation, right? That was good. I think it might have been the first command grab of the actual command grab of the game, right?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so here. All right, so this is good. And almost burned me out here. Doesn't quite get there, but it's pretty, I like the idea. And what happened here? How'd you get hit? All right, so here, here I'm trying to bait the spin, right? I think you went for it once at some point in the game. Maybe I don't remember, but I'm trying to bait your response, right? With those jabs, and then you get hit here. So what happened? Oh, the crouching leg kick whiffed. Right, so that's just unfortunate, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to whiff punish this, obviously. I'm just pressing my crouching medium kick when I thought it was close enough. And in fact, if anything, I was going to go for the throw mix to try to steal it, right? Like, try to go for like a drive versus jab or something and see if I can get you to delay tech or go for throw or whatever, right? Because I'm burnt out from that, right? Like, I'm buffering the drive versus there. So, just an unfortunate ending to that. But that said, though, again, I think like the neutral game for you is a lot better, right? Like, I'm not landing straight hits and putting you in the corner. I actually have to work at putting you in the corner, right? Like it's not like, you know, as free as it is for Ken normally, right? You're actually able to defend the options. So yeah, I think that again, neutral was played fine. In this case, the corner pressure was actually defended fairly well. It's just that you kind of got clipped a couple of times, and I was able to capitalize on that, right? So unfortunate.
Sure.
So
so with the corner pressure, one of the things, like specific things with corner defense that I have a lot of trouble with, I think probably a lot of people do, is so when you're dealing with like corner DIs,
Mhm.
obviously like if somebody puts you in a block string, you can be buffering your super and like, you know, pray that a gap opens up or something,
Yeah.
and you can just be buffering that the whole time. But if you're in a situation where, you know, they're just kind of poking at you, and then like will randomly DI,
Mhm.
or something like that, like I guess what are you normally doing to be ready for that? Like what cues you to start buffering for the super, or like what are you looking for
Get you
to
like
respond
in a
there?
burnout scenario, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because you know if you have meter, you can react to DI, right? I think that's kind of cut and
Well,
dry. But I mean,
yeah.
theoretically, so I think it's actually kind of hard. To be
Yeah.
honest, I actually end up eating a lot of that corner DI stuff when I'm burned out. That's just because the mental stack is too high to think about that. What I have seen work for folks though is that they're buffering after every block. So like when you block something, um, you're in block stun, right? Like for
Mhm.
however long the block stun is. So every time you block something, they'll buffer a quarter circle back or quarter circle forward, depending on what your level 1 is, right? If that case, or level 2, maybe for Manon, you know, one of those, right?
Yeah,
So
they both work.
yeah, both should work, right, against a DI. So in fact, wouldn't level 3 work technically? Oh, anyway,
It
that's
does, it does actually. I've been watching some Akutagawa replays.
mhm.
He does a ton of like reversal with level 3 that I don't see anybody else do, because it's so risky. It's so scary. I don't
Yeah,
know how he does it.
yeah, I don't know.
He does it a
Always
lot though.
buffering, right? Always buffering.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I think works for some folks, and this doesn't work necessarily for me because I'm not good at buffering things like that. But when I talk to players that have, you know, are able to do that, basically they're buffering in between block stun, right? So like if I'm staggering my jabs, right,
Mhm.
I'm trying to get you like. Well, I'll say this is that when players stagger pressure like that, right, they're trying to leave gaps or anything like that. They're really trying to bait you into pressing the super, right? They're trying to bait you into doing, or they're trying to scramble your input, right? So it's like if my level 1 is court circle forwards, like it would be for Akuma, for example, I have to press back to block, right? So that means that if you stagger your pressure and I'm trying to buffer, that could mess up my inputs, right? Because I'm trying to buffer and then I have to block again, and then you may go for the DI and it may not be ready, right? I may not be able to get the input through in time. That
Yeah.
said, SF6 input reader is kind of lenient, so if you're just kind of approximately close, it'll give you the level 1 probably. But I think what ends up tripping up a lot of folks is exactly what you're saying, is that they're like your opponent seems to be randomly pressing. So if you can't get a read on when you think the opponent will DI, the couple of cues that I look for typically end up being like, how close am I to recovering my meter, right? So if I have a lot of meter left, or they don't have a setup, right? Like, I'll say they burned me out randomly and then they threw me, for example, right? Now they're in a corner, no throw loop situation, whatever.
Mhm.
Then maybe I pay attention to like my own burnout timer, right? Most players, not everyone, not all the time, and I won't even say most actually, but some players try to maximize the burnout timer, right? They will pressure you in the corner, they'll keep pressing, and then once you're close to burnout, that's when they'll go for the DI, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? It's really hard, I think, to keep that in your mental stack because you're trying to block, you're trying to find gaps where you can press, but it's also really hard because you're minus now in a lot of those situations, right? It's not just like, everyone like, the opponent gets 4 extra plus frames, right? So, but yeah, I think if you're talking about like mechanically, people will buffer in block stun. So if you block a jab, block a heavy, whatever, they'll buffer it in there and then can go
Mhm.
back to blocking, right? Because think about it, right? From like I'm trying to DIU standpoint, if I'm trying to stagger my pressure and then press DI, if I'm going to press DI after you block something, probably, right? And if you're
Yeah.
always buffering through block stun, the one time that I press DI, you'll be able to react with your button, right? Because you're buffering through the block stun. So I think that's what people do. If you're godlike or play modern, you can just react, right? And that's definitely a thing. But I think like the one that has at least worked for me more than anything else has been buffering through block stun. Now Ken is a little bit privileged in that his level 1 is quarter circle back, so I can be buffering
That would
and
be
still
so
block.
nice.
Yeah, but I think like for other characters like Akuma or other ones whose level 1 is quarter circle forward, just buffer during the block stun. So you block something, quarter circle forward twice, right?
Yeah.
And then go back to blocking, right? Because that's really the only way you can do it. And then again, when you see the DI, that's when you press the button as opposed to blocking again, right? Like just like a hit confirm or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
asked this question. Okay.
yeah. Sorry, good.
I was just gonna say I'd asked the same question to Fuyu too, and he basically said the same thing you did. But he said he also keeps a special eye out for whenever they do a heavy,
Hmm.
because the people like to DI after the heavy since it keeps you from jumping out because the block stun is longer
Hmm.
after the
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah. If you, it's so that can definitely be a thing, and I think that's more that happens more often than you think, right? Because the
Yeah.
heavy, like you're saying, the block stun allows them to get the DI off without them jumping. But again, I think that it's a lot more random overall,
Yeah.
right? I mean, again,
Yeah.
people aren't random and they'll have a pattern when they want to DIU. I think watching out for heavies is good. I think watching your own burnout meter is good, right? I think that again, like it's kind of an assumption you have to make on how the opponent plays, but the closer you are to getting out of burnout, the more likely the DI is, right? I think because you want to do that. Now, some folks will just throw the DI out, right? Like as soon as they burn you out, the DI is coming,
Yep.
right? There's
Yep.
not a lot you
Yep.
can do
Yep.
about that. So you can be buffering basically from the knockdown or from the burnout, right? But I think buffering through block stun is probably the advice to take away from that, like in terms of mechanical thing, and then just react, which is the harder part. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like sometimes I feel like I even have a better reaction like success rate with supers than with meter.
mhm.
Just because like if I'm burnt out in the corner, I'm just terrified out of my mind. So all I'm doing is just
Is
buffering.
buffering, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
think
not trying to take a
that's
turn
more
after
common than
anything.
you think too, because
Yeah,
like you're meant like it's funny because like the mental stack is higher, but like the options you're focused in on become narrower, right? You're like,
yeah,
oh, I have to worry about DI in particular, as opposed to jump ins and, and getting poked and all the other stuff, right?
yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at this jury match. I think is probably a good one to look at here. Yeah, let's take a look at this and see what's going on. So when you sent me the replay, you're talking about how it was pretty close. Jury was not playing jury as you expect. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, normally the most successful times against Stereo are when they're very happy with those buttons right there.
Mm-hmm.
and just start whiffing them in neutral, and then I just would punish them. But
Yeah.
he was a lot better about spacing these and being patient about them. So
Yeah, so this was good right here. I like this right here. This is good. Right. I like that range. I like that poke. I like that spacing. That's good. Right. So
yeah,
from here, if you can establish that this space is yours now, you should now be able to walk. I mean, obviously if your opponent's paying attention, but you should now be able to kind of walk in and out of this range. And see what they do from there, right? Like you're kind of paying attention to the response from your opponent. So they obviously block this, but this is at max range, right? This is pretty close to tip range, so it's good space. They can't really punish you, right? Even though it's -5, but they're spaced out so far, right? So this kind of says to me that okay, this guy knows where the space is, right? Now I got to be careful about what I do next. So let's see what happens. They just go for their stand-up kick. Fair enough, right? So you land yours. He says, I got one of those too. It hits you, right? So let's look at the counter hit, though. Look at this situation.
yeah. And this is the exact pattern I fall into a lot because I hit the crouch medium kick after this, the same as I was trying to do against you.
Yep.
And he punishes.
Yeah. And if we look at the spacing here, right? And I know I say this a lot, but the spacing really does dictate what option you can think about, right? So, like, if you consider the jury that doesn't do anything, right? Like, this space is way too far for anything,
Yeah.
right? Like after you block this. So there's not really a compelling reason for you to press, right? Overall. Because then they just do this, right? Right. And it hits you because their button is in range, right? So like that sort of autopilot, I think like it works when it's on hit, right?
Yeah.
Like on hit up close, that'll work, right? I think it'll work 100%. But on block, when it's spaced out like this, I think that you're better off like resetting back to neutral basically. No, you don't have to press anything. Because if you think about what had happened here, right? Let's say again, like you don't do anything. You just take you hit your button, you control the space, and now you're waiting, right?
Yeah. That probably opens. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So your proc's blocked, right? But you block this, right? So, you know, you don't get hit
Yeah.
is the thing, right? So you can see I'm holding back, trying to walk away, but Jury's proximity block is stopping you from doing that, right? So let me make sure that's not the case. So I'm just gonna hold back, right? Right. So the Jury basically takes their turn back immediately with their stand heavy kick, right? So it's hard to. I'm not sure exactly what you could do here. Maybe maybe not that. Right, maybe that, but that's a hard read on your part, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That you're gonna do that because, like we saw, if you did do that move and the Jury was not pressing right away, you whiff, right? And whiffing is pretty bad overall. So like the conservative thing to do would be to just wait it out, right? After this. Now, if you had a read on your opponent that wants to press this, then you can counter poke, right? You can press your stand medium or your crouch medium punch, maybe stand heavy kick or stand medium kick or whatever, right? But yeah, I think the autopilot into the crouching medium kick probably does need to not be a thing on block anyway.
Yeah.
At least from that distance. Now, if it's close and your opponent's not pressing on -5 situations, maybe it's okay, but Okay. Good. Alright, I don't mind that attempt. Is the previous interaction, you did that string, you finished the string, right? So
Yeah.
like here, right? So they parried. So okay. Then you go for the command grab next, right? Okay. So I think that's perfectly acceptable, like in terms of like rolling the dice. And again, you don't get punished either, so that's even better. For some reason, the Jury jumps forward instead of up, and yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a command grab for sure. Like,
I don't know what happened there. It was probably some sort of misinput. But...
Oh, this is a command grab 100%, right? Like, oh,
yeah.
That's unfortunate. But anyway, the Jury doesn't react. You press your button, right? You're probably gonna get a light string out of this. Oh, they mash, huh? Okay. So you went for the stand light kick here for you, which I don't think chain is it chain for Manon? I don't think so, right?
No, not standing like it.
So from here, you're minus, you try to abare and you get hit for it, right? So this is a little bit. This is a situation where it's like your opponent is mashing on their plus frames, which makes total sense to do, right? Like there's no reason
Yeah.
for them not to press there. So like, how do you continue pressure from here? And I think it's if this doesn't chain, you can't frame trap with this, then it's hard to continue your pressure here. You do kind of have to just accept that they can press here. You could go for like a parry trap, right? So you press it and then you try to parry their response, right? Because they'll typically respond with a 4 frame. But you may just have to block here, like concede that you didn't land, so you have to just let it kind of go, right? Go back to
Yeah.
neutral if you can.
I think the thought process there was that the standing light kick was not like not timed as meaty or anything, so it was already delayed, and he was blocking it. So I just thought he was going to be passive and not do anything.
Yeah.
Continue blocking basically.
Yeah, and that's fair, right? If you have a read on your opponent and you thought that they were going to be passive here, then this is fine, right? Like I always think that if you're making a read based on the information you have, that's better than doing nothing. And if you're wrong, so be it, right? But at least you decided that that's what you were going to do. And I don't hate that. If you thought this jury was going to be passive, you can get away with it, go for it. But now you have an idea that the jury is mashing on their plus range, right? So, or at least in this scenario, they did.
I should have that idea.
Jury's mashing on plus frames. What a concept, right? I do like the parries here, right? You're parrying through all the fuha and everything else. Oh, how'd this happen? Right, so press your button here. Right.
Pressing another button while on minus. Yeah.
They mash, right? So
Yeah,
twice they took their turn back with a medium in a minus, in this case, 2 situation, right? So if that's the case, right, then you kind of have to adjust to what you're seeing, right? So like this is kind of difficult because you're in the corner here, right? So you press your button here and it doesn't quite space them out, right? So like their jury's crushing medium punch is still going to hit you from here. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Does your button reach? Oh, okay. Okay, I really thought that crouching medium punch from jury would reach there. It doesn't, right? That's actually pretty good. So if you think about that situation again, right? Except this time you go in knowing that your opponent's going to mash. This kind of changes what you're going to do, right? Because how is the jury able to hit you here? And it's because you extended a hurt box, right? Like your hurt box is not extended the same way if you don't press this button. So what does that mean, right? That means that like when you press this button at this spacing, the jury can't punish you with, well, I mean, they can't punish you anyway because you're it's safe, right? Because it's only -2. But their crouching medium punch won't reach you, right? So and this is actually the second time, like I was saying, that they pressed crouch medium punch, right? Like the first time was earlier, right there. Oh, this says they jabbed you, but they pressed something, right? They pressed something out there. So you can kind of get a sense of like, oh, they like to press when, I mean, I don't know how much this jury knows about frame data, but it seems like they like to press when it's their turn. That would be my assumption, right? Because they pressed when I was minus, right? So far anyway. Now, for all we know, this jury's just mashing every time, maybe. But at least you can make the assumption in like situations where it does make sense to mash, they're going to do that, right? And again, here, just the being a little bit passive after like your minus frames would have resulted in you getting a full combo here, right? Like you would have gotten a whiff punish, crouching medium punch, and into drive rush into metal, right? Or whatever. So right, instead you have to take jury pressure again. Right, and here I think, what are you doing? Walking forward? Oh, why'd you get hit?
I don't know. Let's see.
It looks like you're holding forward here. So I don't know if that's just like, yeah. So
I don't know.
whatever happened, you got hit. Maybe you're trying to jump and it wasn't fully there. I don't know. But at any rate, you're
Maybe,
yeah. Maybe that's what you were trying to do the first time. So this was good. It worked out. You were able to jump out. And now you have space to work again, right? So let's see what happens. That makes that safe. Yep. Okay. So from right here, after the jump out, All right, so you're standing under the timer there in the corner. So what I want you to pay attention to here is how much space you give up and what happens that causes you to give up the space.
I mean, all he's doing is walking up and pressing crouching medium kick and
Yeah.
working it.
Like there's no compelling reason for you to back up in particular, right? Like you're giving up the space for free is what I was getting at. And they're not doing anything like super aggressive. Yeah, they went for into the, I forget the name of the move, into the follow up with the fireball, but like and pause to move back. But the majority of the space that you gave up was due to you just walking back and creating space, right? So there's nothing wrong with creating space in particular, right? Like if you're creating space to give yourself more room to whiff punish or trying to bait a specific option from the jury, like a dive kick maybe or something like that, that makes sense. But if they're just walking forward as you're walking back, then you're kind of conceding that space for free and they don't have to actually earn it, right? They just walk forward. So like what I would say here is that in the situation you're in from here, this is actually pretty commanding, right? Even though you're behind on health, like you're one command grab, maybe two command grabs away from equalizing this, right? You have a ton of meter to work with and level 1, right? Now super is parity here, so it's not a huge deal. But this represents a lot, right? You can go for like, you can try to play unfair neutral from here and maybe get a whiff punish, maybe knock them down in some capacity, right? Maybe go for like a metal of some kind, right? Command grab, whatever. But from here, like you're able to dominate what they're doing, right? Like if they jump, you can anti-air, you can poke them with your buttons that are better than juries from this distance, and you control the space now, so you know it's difficult for you to whiff. And like you're forcing the jury to make a decision to get out, in which case you can anti-air it or stuff it or whatever, right? But if you keep them trapped in this corner, your odds of winning go up. Now it's not 100%. Obviously, they can do something crazy and re-corner you or whatever. But the odds of you winning from here go up, right? Like as you're standing here, just because of the nature of the situation. And it kind of goes down as you back up, right? Like if you watch them, if you're thinking about one of those charts that show like the win percentage, you know, chances or whatever, it starts to go down as you give it the space, right? So, and not zero, because you can just as easily win from here. But you are giving up the utility of the corner, right? So
yeah, and I'm also just letting Jerry walk forward and gain back all the beater too.
yeah, because they were like below, right? They did a drive rush here, so they can't drive rush cancel from here, right? Not without burning out. So this means that if the jury does want to do a crouching medium kick drive rush and bet it there, they're going to burn out for this, right? So you know, make them make that decision. So right, they went for it there. Right, looks like it.
Yeah, they go for it twice, and I let him just get away with it.
Yep. Right. Oh, he doesn't. I think he wanted a fuha here, but the other time he did a drive rush parry, drive rush cancel, right? So or buffer. Right. So now the meter is back, and now they're in better position than they were even just 10 seconds ago, right, or 5 seconds ago. So
yeah.
I think that would be if I was to like classify like where this round might have fallen apart for you, and we'll see how the rest of the round goes. But giving up that space for free here might have been the blunder, if you will.
Yeah. I'm talking about low-hanging fruit. Just don't walk back for nothing.
Yeah.
It's pretty low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's so hard though, right? It's like one of the hardest concepts to get used to in a fighting game. So anyway, like if you look here, right? So you land a hit, get some pressure, they're able to block, and then they just reaction check you, right? With a dash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No check, unfortunate. And it looks like they might have even gotten it by mistake because they did a crouching light kick into this, but maybe that's what they meant to do. Either way, they went for the throw and they got you, right? But like, yeah, I think like if you had kept them in the corner here, none of this other shenanigan stuff happens, and you are able to maybe potentially burn them out and get a couple of medals, right? Like on the way out. Maybe you still lose, right? Because your health deficit is kind of big, and they're only one mix-up away. But going into round 2 with like maybe 2 or 3 medals would make a difference versus going in with just one, right? So
sure. I think part of it might have just been I had like the 2 prior interactions where I was pressing on their plus frames or whatever, and then getting caught for that, and I didn't understand what was happening. But at like this point in the round, and there's like just gonna back off and see
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because like once you're kind of in that mindset of like, oh, I need to kind of stop pressing things, you start
Yeah.
to not press things when you probably should be pressing, right? It's like, oh, now that
Yeah.
I'm plus, I'm not going to press because either I'm not sure or like I'm afraid of getting hit or whatever, right? So you just gonna have to pay attention to what the jury is doing here. None of it is necessarily plus. I think the only plus thing that she was doing was the crouching medium punch, I want to say. Let me just make sure I'm not lying to you because I don't quite have all the frame data memorized, but I know one of those mediums is plus, and I think it's the crouching. Oh, no, it's the stand medium punch. I take it back. The crouching medium punch is minus. So it's only the stand medium punch that's plus, right? So, yeah, let me make sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, none of those buttons that were being pressed are necessarily plus, although they cancel into Fuha, right? So, you know, you do have to kind of, or into stock, so you do have to be wary of that. Or if they're doing lights, right, then that may also be a thing to be wary of. But the only actual plus button she has is the stand medium punch, right? So, you know, everything else outside of, if there's no drive rush, you can probably take a turn back. Let's see. Good, right? All right, so this sequence was pretty good, right? So you establish your spacing here. You land a hit. Now the jury's like, okay, I need to contest, potentially. They start whiffing some longer range buttons here. And now they're trying to press their longer range button from a spacing that doesn't make sense, right? So, like, this stand heavy kick from jury, like, the foot is all the way out here, right? Like, when she finishes her move, it's, like, way out here, right? So you're able to contest this with your medium, and it stuffs it. Right? And then you take advantage of their pass. Pass in here, get a command grab, right? Perfect. Okay. That's just unfortunate, I think. Because otherwise that is a sick whiff punish. But yeah, you can see, like,
Yeah.
you're trying to press
Anytime I
your
look punished with a back heavy punch, that's a mistake. Like that's just an input error.
It's so hard, right? Like, to do this
Yeah.
intentionally, like, this is difficult, but this was sick.
Yeah.
Alright, so unfortunate here. And you can see here, right? Like 14, 15, 16, 17. So this is actually probably a whiff punish, right? So the jury sees the whiff and is able to hit you with theirs, right? And this is predicated on the spacing, right? So now, again, I don't necessarily fault you for pressing here because the jury has been kind of walking forward into this, but this is kind of far, right? Like, a little bit far. So, you know, you have to be mindful of the spacing there. Ooh, okay. Oh, yeah, that was
really
good.
no excuse to not confirm the heavy punch combo. There's like a year hit confirm window.
Yeah. Okay. So if you haven't seen it by now, the jury is mashed like 3 times on a command grab knockdown, right? So from here. Well, so if we watch. Okay, jury's mashing. Oh, they didn't match. Oh, okay, they kind of pressed, but they were a little bit later. But you can see they pressed, right? It's not quite mashing, but they're pressing something. In the second time. Right, this time they're able to mash there, right? So again, you kind of have to make an assumption on what they want to do. But if you look at like throughout the last round and kind of as we break this down, if you're paying attention, they are mashing or at least being aggressive on taking the turn back. So. Okay. Unfortunate, but okay. Yeah, right there, right? Heavy button into DI. Okay. So from here, right when you get up, as soon as you block some, like I would, so like from a mechanical standpoint, right? I would be buffering here, and then block,
Mhm.
and then buffer again, right? And then that will give you the best chance of getting through it. So I think for like, from a non, it's core circle forward, right? Kick, or is it punch?
For level 1, yeah, but I would probably just buffer level 2 anyways because that's of course looking back.
Yeah. So from right here, right? So like
Yeah.
you'd buffer this, right? And I'm not the best at this, but right. So like, oh, right here, right. So you saw the buffer. I don't know if you can really see it in my inputs there, but like I'm buffering as I'm getting up, and then I hold
Mhm.
back as I get up because I don't see the DI coming. And then as soon as and then I buffer again through the block stun, right? And I'm mashing it. Like that's how I would buffer it, is I'm mashing it as soon as I see the block, right? As soon as I block
Yeah.
something. And then as soon as you see the red, you would just mash through it, right? So anyway, that's how it would go. But it's tough. It's very difficult. But
Yeah.
that's the game, right? Game we play. And it's what makes this hard too is the gap is a 2-frame gap, right? Like right here.
Yeah.
So, or maybe it's 1 frame, I forget, but or 2-frame. I think it's 1 or 2 frames here. So you do have to hit that input inside of this sort of 5-frame window here, right? So you do have to be ready to see this. Now the good thing is that as soon as you see the orange or the red coming through, you can start mashing it, right? Like just mash the actual inputs there. At least that's what I would do, because you would be able to get 3 or 4 or 5 quarter circle backs, if not more, during this, during what's happening here, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, this is probably it, right? They should be able to level 3 you. Okay. Making sure they did it. But yeah, like we had talked about, right? The reason you ended up kind of losing that first game was because you backed up here. And then I think here, you did kind of lose a couple of neutral interactions. Like that. And then when you were cornered here, I think... I'll say that your meter management was mostly fine. I think the only kind of questionable drive rush was after this, like that right there. Might have been a little bit tough because it puts you in a close to burnout situation. Now, if you land a command grab here or something, like that totally makes it worth it, I guess. But on block here, it'd be kind of tough. Like you don't necessarily have to have done the drive rush right away here, right? Like you could have just easily started poking again, get some meter back, establish some space, right? Like that is also an option. But that said, like if this landed, that's game, right? You're able to convert into like level 1 or level 2 potentially, and cash out and win, right? So I get the sentiment there. It's just that the risk of you burning out gets really high when this happens, right? And this is actually ultimately what loses you the game, is you get hit here.
Mhm.
There's a stand heavy kick that hits you, and then that's it, right? You don't get your meter back from here, right? So yeah, and then yeah.
I mean, this is just a good call on his part because I hit that 5 heavy kick every time.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that I think that heavy committal buttons when you're burned out is a liability for sure. Like, you got to be careful about doing that. Because people will just DI you, right? Because what are they afraid of? Well, especially against Manon, like, what are they afraid of?
Yeah. I mean, I do that to people all the time.
Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, well, you want to be aggressive and burn out? Here's a DI, right? If you're not ready to throw me, and you do a button or something and I DI you, I'm going to get a punish counter here. Big damage, put you in the corner, and get to do it again, right? Because you're not going to be out of burnout, right? So you be careful there. I think like just doing jabs, crouching medium buttons or something like that might be better, or not pressing anything, right? You don't necessarily have to poke every time, which I think is kind of the theme, is that you don't have to be active all the time. Like it's good to be active if that's your game plan, and it's good that if it's working, it's also good. But you don't have to be, is the point, right? Like it ended up costing you here because you ran out of resources. So anyway, yeah. So I think that kind of covers it. I think if we were to kind of sum up what we're talking about, for the most part, for you, it ends up being making sure that you don't give up space for free, which we kind of talked about before, but that's kind of in this particular game is a bigger theme. And then in corner defense situations, I think you actually handle it pretty well, but I think you have a better idea of how to kind of navigate it now, right? Where it's like, instead of just being completely passive, you may have to take a little bit of risk to get out, right? And I think again, you do that well. You're able to jump out, the times that we had played and got cornered. But generally speaking, because you have to play unfair neutral, that's what you have to do. Now, this only really works against someone that does corner pressure like I do, right? Where they're like trying to play neutral with you in the corner,
Mhm.
or other players do that. Not everyone does that, right? Like some players will continue just being in your face, pressing over and over and over again, and you have to find the gap to reversal, right? In that case, then it really becomes identification of the gaps in characters' corner pressure, right? So like it's like a Kim or a Jamie or like characters like that where they have this looping kind of offense where they can continue just pressing and you have to kind of guess where the gap is, like like Jamie, Kim, those kind of characters. That becomes more lab work, right? Like identifying the gap there, and making the decision, because the way that they run their offense is I'm going to do my string, and if you don't um, identify the gap and reversal me out of it or get me out of it, I'm going to keep going. And then the mix
Okay.
up becomes: are they going to keep going? Are they not going to keep going in the gap? Can you do something else, right? And that's where like the next layer comes in. But like your goal should be to make them do that, right? It should be to get them to go to that next layer, because otherwise they can just loop that thing over and over again, right? Like if you're up against a Jamie that is just safe jumping you over and over again after they land the DP ender, then
Yeah.
if you can't stop that, they just keep doing it and you die, right? So same deal
Yeah.
for
We've
anything else.
definitely been there.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
there a lot.
happens to me all the time, right? Like I took the DP, they get a safe jump, oh, I'm wrong, I get hit again, they take a safe jump again, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. But that's the corner defense and stagger pressure too. We kind of talked about that, where it's kind of the same idea, where eventually, if you're not burned out, eventually they will be minus and out of the way, right? And they'll move far enough back. And that's when you have to decide if you're going to take a turn back or if they're going to try to bait you and take a turn back, right? So like, are they doing a string that spaces them out so that your medium will whiff? Or are they going to like maybe bait you bait you into pressing and then dive kick you, like that type of thing. When it comes to that, that's just identification of strings. And unfortunately, I don't really have a good answer for that other than to just pay attention to when you're getting hit by it, note the replay, note the time and all that, and then hop into the lab and look at it, right? So, and see what spacing it leaves you at, and then identify what button you can press there. Now, I will say it gets easier as you do that more and more, because when you really think about it, like not every character, most characters have light strings, and like they
Mhm.
have a specific ender that leaves them as spacing, and not everyone, it's kind of discrete, right? Like, oh, what button will whiff, what button will reach at the end of these strings, which strings are they, right? As you play more and more and you see more and more people doing that, it gets a little easier to identify. It's not easy, but just easier. So
Yeah.
um yeah. And I think, like, again, your neutral is a lot better from the last time we played, for sure. I had to work pretty hard to get through that. And I think, like, if we're trying to prioritize like kind of improvements for you there, I do think that it does end up being trying to whiff less in neutral, right? And then the second thing would be adjusting to someone that has adjusted to your initial game plan. So like, how do I make them do something else, right? And all that. Which that just comes
Sure.
with time, right? And identifying like, oh, the role that they're playing is this is what they kind of want to do, and now I'm going to apply the counter to that as best I can. So,
Sure. I think a lot of that is also like kind of trying to think in a structured way. I guess like developing an actual game plan.
mhm.
Because I think like after the initial autopiloting string, standing heavy kick to crouching medium kick or whatever. Like, okay, they adjusted. Now I have to think of a solution, or like what would work next, rather than just knowing what would do next,
Mhm.
or what would make sense to adapt to.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think,
And that just comes with playing more, I think. Getting into more games with folks and understanding like that, because when you break it down, you think about it, like when I walk into your space, right, it's going to elicit a response of some kind, right? And initially it's a send heavy kick, and then after I deal with that, now it's like a crouching medium punch or crouching medium kick, and then if I deal with that, then it ends up being a jab, and if I deal with that, it ends up being passive, right? Like if I were to think through that, like you don't necessarily have to do the next thing there. Like if you see a response that your opponent is doing when you walk into their space, you can take advantage of that, or at least try to, because you're trying to build, like you were saying, you're trying to build a game plan around what your opponent is doing. And I think like just paying attention to what they're doing goes a really long way. Like you don't have to necessarily outthink your opponent or like make a godlike read or anything like that to beat them. a lot of times players will just they'll show you their hand and continue playing that, right? And I think like you kind of alluding to that for yourself. It's like, oh, I autopilot into this over and over again, and if someone notices that, they adjust to it, and then I lose, right? And I get hit. So
Yeah.
now that it's a little more concrete, I think it's like, oh, can you identify when you are autopiloting like that? And if you are, how can I identify what the opponent is doing to apply the correct counter? Right? And that's kind of what would be the thing to do. And again, that just comes with playing more, right? And trying to play in that way. And again, this only works against opponents that'll let you do that, right? Like if someone is just dragon lashing you over and over again, there is no mind game being played there, right? You just have to react, right? And
Yeah.
I try to emphasize that because I think a lot of players want to get into the footsies game. They want to play, neutral. They see the pros do it and all that stuff, and unfortunately, you have to earn it, right? And I think you're there. Honestly, I think you're there. It's just that you just have to play more and get used to like the adaptation portion, and that's takes a lot of practice, right? A lot of reps in game, because now you're thinking, right? It's like, oh, I'm playing this fighting game, right? I'm boxing somebody, and I have to pay attention to like a chessboard. You know what I mean? Like that's literally what we're doing here, right? It's that fast, and the adaptation happens that quick, and you have to identify the role, identify the counter, and then once you do that, maximize the damage while you can until they adjust, and then once they do it again, do it over again, right? And that's how it goes. So yeah.
And also react to DI at the same time.
When you're burned down the corner, now you have to think DI. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the mental stack in this game. Again, it is higher than it has been in previous Street Fighter titles, I think. And a lot of players are, a lot of people that you talk to kind of acknowledge that is that it is harder to deal with stuff in this game, and that's just the nature of it, right? So, well, man, do you have time to run it back? I know, I don't know if it's too late for you or not, but
I don't know. I'm good to go.
all right, let's do it. Oops.
Well, I gotta reopen SF6.
All right, no worries. Send the invite here. All right. All right, leave the mics hot because it's funny, and yeah, just do your best to not give up space for free. I think is probably like the most actionable thing.
Yeah.
Round one. Fight. Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
Mm. That was nice. Oh! Man, that conversion is so cool. I wish it didn't cost that much, though.
Got a meter list there, but I never have the awareness.
Oh, I think that's enough, right?
It's okay. We got a couple medals. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that Fuyu tech. Oh, no. Oh, clipped. Nice jump. Oh, no.
Getting up space for no reason.
Yeah. I was about to be burned out.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, I think if you had kept that space and I was about burned out and you landed on a button here, I think you take this round. I don't think it's even a question. So
Yeah.
yeah, gave up the space. Unfortunately, allowed me to get a meter back, right? But otherwise, you played that round really well. Oh, pressing when you're minus.
The special ender to the light stream. I tried to tech it.
Maybe a too delayed of attack, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, how's it gonna whiff? Nice.
Ah.
Ah!
Oh no.
Oh man.
They all reliable.
And you got to do it. Make me guess. Uh-oh. Yeah, that time it was just the whiff. Like, you kind of went for one extra button there, and that's what got
Yeah,
me.
I should
Whiffed it.
drive rush canceled the crouching medium punch. But
Yeah, the one right before it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Would have been a better option than trying to press it a second time. Oh! I gotta tell Fuyu to stop telling Manons to do that. Oh! That was sick.
3 bars though.
Hey, it's worth it. Oh. Oh, okay, that was sick. That was sick. I should have known the shenanigans were coming.
One day I'll anti-air those.
I was about to say you probably should be anti-airing there. Oh! That was sick.
Oops.
Oh, it's level 3. Nice, nice, nice. Pretty good. So yeah, if you're able to mix me effectively there in the corner, right? I had to take a lot of risks to get out. But like you saw, if your chances of winning go up if you keep me from being able to play the game, right? So
That makes sense.
oh, nice. No drivers cancel. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought I backdashed. I guess not. Command grabs are too strong.
Nice.
Ah!
I really should. Oh, that. Nope.
You have to
Like a
tech though.
book.
You have to do something right. Like you have to guess. It's well, if you're gonna die, right? So. Oh no, super. Oh, I don't know why I tried to jump, but I tried to jump. Nice. Oh no.
Ah, not a second time.
Yeah. Oh. Ah.
Probably should have gone into level 2.
Yeah, I think so. If you burn me out there, this is over. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh no!
The mid-screen shimmy.
Yeah, I don't convert into level 2 or level 1 for pretty much ever, which is not good.
Yeah, I think that's something you may want to start considering because a lot of Manon's damage, you can do a good amount of it with that, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Ah! Nice. Got a super here. Actually, I don't know if I would have killed you. Maybe not.
oh nope.
Uh-oh. Yeah, unfortunately, in Burnout, Jinrai is all safe.
Yeah.
But you saw the result though, right? Is that like if you're able to hold your ground a little bit more and
Mhm.
effectively counterpoke me, it changes how I have to play neutral, and that can open up some avenues for you, right? Like a lot of the command grab mixes you were able to land was because I couldn't back up anymore, right? Like I couldn't walk backwards as you were hitting me, so then now I have to like
Mhm.
consider the 50-50, right? And I ate a lot of them. So, but yeah, otherwise, I think again the neutral aspect is really good for you. I think you're doing really well there. I think if you keep playing against Fuyu, you'll adopt their style of neutral, which is godlike sometimes. Like I don't know how that guy plays, but if you play like him, you'll do really
Yeah.
well, right? Um, yeah, and that's really it. I think corner defense wise, again, like it's tough, and you just have to play more to understand like where the gaps are. Like against Jinrai, that's kind of knowledge checky. If I do a medium Jinrai and you're in burnout, I can wait a little bit and it baits level ones because it's safe on block for the most part.
Mhm.
But otherwise, you went for it there. Like you thought that was the right opportunity to do it, and you did it, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that was helpful because I think like we covered some of the topics you were talking about, and I think like again we looked at how you're approaching the game, and I think you're doing fine. I think it's just how do you deal with the adaptation that comes from your opponent, and that's really if you're able to do that, that's really going to put you to the next level. Because I feel like in ranked, especially a lot of first to twos, people don't adapt past the second or third time. They just kind of do one thing, and then by the time the second adaptation needs to come, the set is over. So you'll start doing a lot better, I think. At least you'll be able to climb through, blast through the master ranks, that 1500 MR. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I guess one of the things I take away from this is just that whenever I sort of get timid or I'm just not sure, I tend to back up and give space to get some breathing room and try to figure out what's going on. And so identifying sort of the situations that do have me confused will make me less prone to like feeling that way and walking back as a result. So like the situation with the jury, like I was getting hit, I wasn't sure. I guess if it was because I was pressing on minus
Mhm.
frames or whatever. And so because things were happening I wasn't sure about, I started backing up. So I guess the more I can kind of identify those confusing situations,
Mhm.
then the less I'll have the tendency to be confused and off
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I think so. Also, what I will say is that you don't have to back up as far. So if you think about your spacing for the most part, if you back up to just outside of your stand heavy kick range, that's more than enough space for you to kind of give yourself that breather you're talking about, right? Like give yourself a little bit of space to work with, try to understand what's happening. You don't have to back up to full screen, half screen, or anything like that. You just need to back up
Mhm.
enough where their footsies buttons won't hit you, right?
Yeah,
Now, for against like a jury or like a fireball character, that does put you in fireball range, but I think most you probably have a good idea how to deal with fireballs for the most part, right? So like that's not
yeah,
completely unknown versus like, oh, I'm getting randomly counter hit here. I don't know what's happening. That's typically happening because you're blocking something or you're pressing when you're not when it's not appropriate, right? So like backing up to where the buttons like normals are no longer an issue to hit you, like they'll whiff if they press. That's probably all you
mhm,
need to do. You don't need to back up any further than that. So like I
yeah,
don't want to stop you from backing up because I think creating space for yourself can be a good thing. It's just you need to ensure that you aren't backing up so much that you're giving away the space, right? So like
yeah, yeah.
just under the like if you're like in the jury example, if you had backed up to just under the timer or right next to the timer, like if you look at vertically, you know, like just outside of the time where the timer is, that's more than enough space for you to react to basically everything and give yourself space where you don't have to worry about normals, right? So if the jury
Makes
does a
sense.
dive kick or a drive rush or a dash or a jump or something like that, you can react to it from that spacing, and I think that
Yeah,
will help a lot. Like again, like as you get used to that stuff and you still want to back up, which you know is not necessarily a bad thing, you just don't have to do it as far. Is all
sure.
I think. Yeah.
I mean, for some of the fireball characters, I actually do back up that bar on purpose to try to bait and spin.
Oh,
But
for a spin. So that I
yeah,
mean, but if you think about that, that is a specific response, right? So you're game planning that and doing that
yeah, yeah,
intentionally, right? So that I 100% support that if that's what you want to do and that's how you want to plan a game it, totally fine
yeah, yeah,
because you're making a decision and it's conscious decision and you're doing it, right? But like kind of autopiloting the backup, you want to avoid that, right? That's
yeah,
probably
yeah.
what you want to
That's
cut out of the game.
definitely something I need to
Yeah.
kind of be more mindful of
Yeah,
as
because
I
you're kind of hanging yourself, right? You're giving away the positional advantage that you earned by playing neutral, right? Maybe you land a command grab, maybe you land a throw, maybe you push them back with
yeah,
your buttons, whatever. But you've earned the corner, right? And giving it away for free is never a good thing, right? Now giving it away because you want to bait fireballs or whatever, that's totally different, right? Because you're not like giving it away, you're game planning something, right? So that's different.
yeah.
But yeah, cool, man. Any other questions you want to ask before we sign off here?
Uh, no, I think that's enough food for thought
Yeah.
for one session.
Yeah, no, that's this is I was really impressed with how well you're playing. It's been a while since we played, to be honest. I think it's been my gosh, it might have been since the last time we were here. I don't think we've had a chance to really play. So,
Yeah,
um,
aside from that one random Cammy versus Guile.
yeah, yeah, in the ranked.
Yeah,
You know, and hopefully my guy will make a return, I suppose. But yeah, again, I just want to emphasize that I was really impressed with how far you've gotten from here, like how the improvement has looked. Right, yeah, it wasn't. I had to work pretty hard to get these wins, so you know, take that take that with you to the bank, if you will.
all
But yeah,
right.
I think you're doing well. I think like
Thank
as
you.
soon as you start identifying situations that you can adapt to, I think you're going to do really well.
Cool. I mean, a lot of it was your help too from that last session. I think back in like November or whatever it was.
Well, I'm glad it's helping for
Yeah.
sure. All right, man. See, I'll do the outro on stream, but yeah. Otherwise, have a good night, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Cool. So with that, thanks for watching, folks. If anyone's out there, appreciate you as always. This has been Sit Down and Shut Up. I run this through the Fight Rise Discord. So Fight Rise is a fighting game community focused on focused on fighting games, for Civ 6 in particular. They do bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series. It is a 7-round Swiss tournament where there's an upper and lower bracket depending on your current rank. Mostly MR. You can definitely join if you're in Diamond or any of those other ranks. Like, there's nothing stopping you from joining that. It's just most of the folks are going to be in MR. So, 7-round Swiss, everyone's a VC. It's always a good time. Feel free to join. I think they're actually doing a first to 5 this time coming up. I think we have to check the Discord. So there's that. They also do community showcase events through their Urge to Fight series. I do commentary for them every once in a while. It's a lot of fun to see folks in the community leveling up and getting to play on stream and all that stuff. Also plug Big League KO. So Big League KO is a league format that takes place over the course of a month. So over the course of 4 weeks, you'll play it's a 7 round. It's an 8-man round robin, 8-person round robin. You play 7 matches over the course of 2 weeks. They're all first to fives. Your pool is going to be rank separated, and if you do well, you get to get in a postseason where you get to play other folks in a bracket. And if you make it all the way through, the championships for each division are played on a Urge to Fight stream, right? So you get to see the finals of that, and it's a lot of fun. Good way to get a lot of longer sets with folks. Not a lot of tournaments are set to first to five, so good way to get longer sets with folks and get used to that if that's something you want to do. Also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is a fighting community focused on getting newer players into fighting games, mostly Street Fighter 6 as well. They do lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mondays are modern night, so if you want to learn modern or interested in modern, you can check that out. You don't have to play modern, but it's the theme. Wednesday is a newbie night, so if you're new to the game, you can come in on Wednesday, get on voice chat, talk to people, meet folks, get games, right? That's a lot of fun. Fridays end up usually being a kind of open lobby night, so a lot of the players that are higher level will show up to those and we'll just play games in Battle Hub. We also do, I think it's bi-weekly tournaments on Sundays. They are generally first to two. I think they do Swiss every once in a while, but lately I think it's been first to two tournaments. So that's a lot of fun if that's something you're interested in on Sundays. I think at noon Pacific. They also once a month do a modern monthly, so modern only tournament. If you're a modern warrior and want to prove yourself against other modern warriors, that would be the one to go to. All those things are at the Newbie Fight Club Discord, so join these Discords, take a look, look at the events that are coming up. If you like what I'm doing here and want a session like this for yourself, take a look at the Fire Race Discord under the Level Up channel. There is a thread, or I guess it's a channel called Sit Down and Shut Up. If you look at the pins messages there, you'll see how to join, how to queue up, and get time with from me to do this, right? So if that's interesting for you, or you're interested in that, please take a look. There are a couple other coaches there. You can take a look in their channels and their pin messages and see if you can sign up for coaching through them. Again, a lot of good folks there, and I'm active on both these Discords. So if you have questions for me or want to play me in games or anything like that, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. I don't always respond to chat, even though it's not always active, but I don't always respond to that stuff while streaming. So I do thank you guys for your likes, your follows, and all that stuff. And with that, I will say thank you guys and have a good night.